Meet the Porsche 911 GTS. It sits above the Carrera S, and although it's not quite as crazy as the GT3 or turbo models, this thing is still very quick. And it's got a very cool feature. Check this out. It's got a manual transmission, but this isn't any ordinary manual. This one has 7 speeds. Okay, it's got 7 speeds, that's novel, but the way the clutch actuates, the shift between the gates, it is just so involving. The steering is just so communicative. It really does give you a sense of what's happening at the front end. And the balance of the car too just eats up corners. It's just so much fun. I'm loving this. The cabin of the 911 GTS is sumptuous. The seats are hugely comfortable. There's Alcantara everywhere, on the seats, on the steering wheel. And there's a real sense of purpose about the interior too. You really feel ensconced in this. I really love this little control panel too. This is where the action happens. This button makes the exhaust go louder. This button makes the spoiler go up and down. This one changes the suspension. And this one, well, it kind of lets you do burnouts. The 911 GTS is powered by an uprated version of the 3.8 litre flat 6-cylinder engine, or boxer engine as some people call it. And it pumps out 316 kilowatts and has a 7,000 RPM redline. In other words, this thing likes to rev. The way the Porsche 911 handles is just sublime. There's this connection between car and driver that you rarely find in sports cars. It's an absolute dream to drive. I absolutely love the look of the 911 GTS. It's a gorgeous car, especially these 20-inch center lock alloy wheels from the Turbo S. It also sits 10 millimeters lower than the regular models, and it has these gorgeous wider hips of the Carrera 4S. The GTS can also be distinguished by its black accents, including these, the exhaust pipes, and of course the huge matte black alloy wheels. Grip levels are absolutely phenomenal thanks to the huge rubber on this car, but it also means the brakes are super strong too. There's enough grip there, they've got big enough discs that this thing will stop very hard. Like many 911s, the GTS is actually quite easy to live with because it's got good ride quality, it soaks up a lot of the bumps and lumps in the road, and it's easy to drive. But that's a problem as well. Shouldn't sports cars be a little bit raw, a little bit unrelenting, make compromises? Part of me wants it to be not quite as easy to drive as this. It'll take a real Porsche aficionado to pick the GTS at a distance. And there's another thing. Sometimes I feel sports cars should feel like a sports car. This one is almost too cultured, too genteel in a way. You can actually drive it every day. The suspension is supple enough and adaptive enough to do that, but it's not perfect. That 10 millimeter lower ground clearance means that chin drags on everything. You have to be super careful around tight driveways. Also, there's not a lot of boot space, not a lot of luggage space, and sometimes I feel this infotainment system at the front here is a little bit busy as well. The Porsche 911 GTS is such an engaging car. I've had an absolute ball driving it. I love this vehicle. And the strange thing is, vehicles like this could be rare in future. Manual gearboxes, especially 7 speeds, could be gone, and Porsche's talking about going to turbo engines. And with that in mind, I'm going for another drive.